Hey everyone, Mr. Vargas here, helping out Math 6, working on homework assignment 6.4, and this has to do with algebras and writing expressions, coming from page 465 of your textbook. Alright, so we're just going to go through pretty much all 7 problems and double check your work if you already did the assignment. If you didn't do the assignment yet, go ahead and follow along and complete it while you listen. Alright, so for examples 1 through 5, we are asked, that would be the bell. Examples 1 through 5, we are asked to define a variable and write each phrase as an algebraic expression. Okay, for the first one it says 6 feet less than the width. Okay, and remember we talked about algebraic expressions having 3 different things. They've got numbers, operations, and variables. Variables, singular or multiple variables. So here we're asked to define a variable and then write an algebraic expression. Well, we know that 6 feet is our number, so that's going to be known, and it's going to be 6 feet less than. Less than means we subtract. If you go back to your translating English page from your interactive notebook, less than means we subtract. And here's kind of the tricky part. Whenever we have less than or more than, the number that we use actually goes after the operation. So the number 6 comes after the operation of subtraction, less than. And the unknown here is the width. So you can define a variable by saying, let's say W represents the unknown width. And then we can go ahead and just finish up our expression with W minus 6. And that would be our algebraic expression right there. 6 feet less than the width, or W minus 6. Nice, let's check out number 2. So we've got 6 hours more per week than Theodore studies. So I'm just going to let S be the unknown amount of studying. And since it's 6 hours more, 6 hours more than, we're going to have to use plus 6. So more than, remember when we see the word than or we hear the word than, the number comes after the operation. So the number comes, or the number is to the right of the operation. So 6 hours more than Theodore studies, and I said that my variable is just going to be S, and really you can choose any variable you like, but since studies starts with S, I just went with that. So it should be S plus 6. Okay, number 3. 6 years less than Tracy's age. Okay, so we've got that word less than again. I just want to be very intentional about this. So less than, that means subtraction. But our number has to come after our operation. So less than means subtraction, and that number that we're going to put here goes after or to the right of the operation. And since it says 6 years less than Tracy's age, we can go ahead and just fill that in with a 6. and Tracy's age, we don't know it. So let's go ahead and set a variable, and I'll just call it T for Tracy's age. Okay, so fill that in, and you've got T minus 6, or I'll rewrite it again. So it's T minus 6, or 6 less than Tracy's age. All right, and there's your answer. Going on to number 4. 2 less than 1/3 of the points that the Panthers scored. So this one's a little bit more challenging, I guess. We've got 2 less than. So 2 less than means we automatically know we have to do minus 2. Since whenever we see less than or we see the word than, our operation comes before our number. So 2 less than 1/3, 1/3, of the points that the Panthers scored. So I'm just going to say P for points, and my variable that I defined is P represents my points scored. Now we don't know what P is here. Just like in the other ones, our variable is our unknown. But that's all we're asked to do here today, is to just find algebraic expressions based on the English words that they give us. So 1/3 P minus 2, or 2 less than 1/3 of the points scored. Okay. Number 5. The United States House of Representatives has 35 more members than 4 times the number of members in the United States Senate. Define a variable and write an expression to represent the number of members in the House of Representatives. Then find the number of members in the House of Representatives if there are 100 members in the Senate. Ooh, okay, this is a challenging problem. Let's start it out like this. It has 35 more members than, so that's 35 more than. So we know we're going to have to do a plus 35 somewhere. And 4 times the number of members. So 4 times. And here I'm just going to say my variable is M. M represents my members. I don't know what that is yet, but that's okay. That's what a variable does. So 4 times the number of members plus 35. All right, so there's our algebraic expression. And then they tell us to do one more step. So this was step 1. And then here's step 2, is to find the number of members in the House of Representatives if there are 100 members in the Senate. So this goes back to basically evaluating when you have, remember, evaluate means to substitute and solve. So here our M, our number of members, equals 100, and we have to plug that value in to our M to find out the number of members in the House of Representatives. Okay, so you guys have gotten pretty good at that. So we rewrite this as 4 times, right? Whenever a number is next to a variable, we have to multiply. So that's going to be 4 times 100 plus 35 equals, all right, if you want to do that calculation quickly in your head, 4 times 100 is 400 plus 35 gets you 435. And there you go. House of Representatives has 435 members. All right, let's go down to number 6. It says Danny uses the table to help her convert measurements when she is sewing. Describe the relationship between the number of feet and the number of yards. So here you can write something like the number of feet is always 3 times the number of yards. And that comes from the fact that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Okay, so that would be good enough for A, describe the relationship between the feet and the number of yards. All right, so write an expression for the number of yards in feet. Ooh, so now the number of yards in feet, we would actually be going backwards there, so we would need to divide. Okay, so when we set up an expression that talks about division, basically we're just going to have the number of feet that we want to look at, and F here stands for my feet. And if we want to convert that to yards, all we have to do is take the number of feet and divide it by 3. And that will equal your yards. Here I used Y for yards. But that's a little bit too much. You don't need that just yet. That is an equation, and we'll learn about that next chapter. Okay, so now we can move on to letter C from this problem. And it asks us to find the number of yards in 63 feet. So here we would just actually plug in 63 for the number of feet, divide that by 3, and that would tell us that there are 21 yards in 63 feet. Pretty simple. Okay, moving on to number 7. Last one. An inch is about 2.54 centimeters, so I'm going to write that down. Inch is approximately 2.54 centimeters. Write an expression, so write an algebraic expression, we know we're going to need some type of variable, which estimates the number of centimeters in x inches. So x inches. So here they're actually giving you the variable to work with. That's going to be x. For this one, all we have to do is set up a multiplication expression. In particular, we're going to use 2.54 because we know that's how many centimeters are in 1 inch. And you're going to multiply that number by however many inches you want to find. So if you want to find 10 inches, you're just going to replace this with 10 and then multiply. If you want to find 5 inches, you can replace this x with 5 and then multiply by 2.54. And this expression will work really well for converting centimeters to inches. Then the last step says to estimate the number of centimeters in 12 inches. So here my x equals 12. And we can evaluate. And we remember evaluate means to substitute and solve. So we're going to do 2.54 times that 12. And that's actually going to equal, let's go ahead and work the math out just for fun. 2.54, let me give myself some more space. 2.54 times 12. All right, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 makes 5. We drop down to the next row and get our X-Men going. Okay, now we got to do 1 times 4, 1 times 5, and 1 times 2. Add it all up. Carry the 1, and you get 3,048. But we're not done. We have to move our decimal based on how many numbers are to the right of our decimal. And here we've got 1 number and 2 numbers right there. So we're actually going to move that decimal twice. Boom, boom, which means our answer is 30.48 centimeters. There you go. All right, well, I hope this helped. Good luck, and we'll see you in class.